Okay, I know it's been literally a week since you've been in here, but we left off with some practice on 2-3. We just needed a little more practice in terms of combining like terms, maybe working with a fraction or a decimal. Said let the calculator do the heavy lifting for you. Okay? Now, in the intervening week, I think I've had a total of 3 questions. So I'm guessing we're either all good or we're still not asking questions and about to get smacked with reality. I can only say it so many times. So,
I don't remember which question it was, but it was a question mark by it. I was confused. I'll have to turn it in.
well then take this with you.
Looking good.
Wait. Oh, so close.
How do you check on this one?
How do you check any equation?
Well, I know, but would you put x just there and then keep this as not an x?
Does it have an x to begin with?
No, but
Well, why would you just randomly put an x there? We check how we always check. Replace every variable in the original with your solution. This can go. Yeah. Remember, don't get the dumb points off. Solve and check. And check. It really hurt having to take those points off on our last quiz, where we had 3 or 4 questions that said solve and check, and then you just didn't check. Okay, run it all the way to the end zone. Make sure you're labeling these. 2-3C. Okay. Easier you make it for me to go through these, the less likely I am to procrastinate. Get her done quick. Case in point, Algebra 2 had a quiz yesterday. Everything's already updated. Okay. Part of that might be because I still don't have internet, so I couldn't watch Twitch.
I don't know what Steve told me.
Uh-oh. What?
I don't know where I screwed up. I was like, something simple. That just try to check it, and that's nowhere near negative mistakes.
Do the order of operations manually. I think you might have goofed trying to one-shot it. You're not as far off as you think.
When you're disputing this part,
Mm-hmm.
how do you distribute 1/2 on x?
What's in front of the x right now?
X, that would
What number is right in front of x right now?
6.
No, right in front of x, immediately to the left of it.
Oh, 1/2. So what did you
In
say?
between there.
What?
If I just say this, what number is right in front of it?
Nothing.
So what do we always put?
Just x or nothing. 1. Oh.
Okay. We're always gonna assume that 1 is there. Did you find our guy? I just sent an email. Okay. Yo.
So what do I do after this?
I can't tell you.
Could you give me a little hint?
Can you sort your Legos?
The X's.
Got anything that you can put together in the same bucket? I know everyone works at a little bit different speed. I'm going to give you about a minute to finish up. Some of us are really struggling because we just haven't thought of anything remotely mathematical for 7 days. Okay. Hopefully we're there. If not, it is what it is. Let's see. Step 1. Disturbert. Make sure that when you distribute, you are distributing a negative 1/2. So, okay, I'm going to go pick on Isaiah because we just answered this question. What number is always in front of x if there's no number there? 1, right? So I'm taking a negative 1/2 times 1x and getting minus 1/2 x. A negative 1/2 times a positive 6 is minus 3. Then, okay, Dominic, you were headed right down the path. You said it, did you figure it out? If I have 2 waffles minus half a waffle, I now have 3 halves, or 1.5 of a waffle. Combine like terms. Every time you run into a plus or a minus, it's a new term. And some of those terms can be put together. What you don't want to do, really, really, really don't want to do, is I'll see kids try to say plus 1/2 here, plus 1/2 here for some reason. Like, A, you can't do that because they're not like terms. B, you, just don't do that, okay? I'm going to take 2 x's minus half an x, and I'm going to get 1.5 or 3 halves x. That was kind of the whole idea behind 2, 3. You have to clean some stuff up before you can start moving things around. If you're going to rearrange your room, you might want to move that mess of crap underneath your bed. Okay? Now that I've cleaned it up, I add 3 to both sides. I show that this zeroes out. I show that this, okay, we got that, and then negative 36 plus 3. Careful with this. Go the right direction. You owe me $36. You give me 3. Now what? You still owe me 33. So negative 33. And then, what is that 3 halves doing? Hugged right up on x. Multiplying? Oh, multiplying. Okay. So the opposite of to multiply is to, and dividing by fractions as easy as pi. Multiply by the reciprocal. Right? Multiply by 2/3. Put this over 1 so it's a fraction. Come full circle back to the other color here. 3 over 3 cancels, 2 over 2 cancels, leaving just x. 3 and 33 becomes 1, and that is a negative there. Yep. So negative 11 times 2 is negative 22. Who was that was struggling with the check? I think Ashton, right? Like, you had it. It was there. We were just sketchy on the check because, like, remind me, did you have the negative 22 or did you just miss the negative?
I forgot to distribute 1/2 onto 6, so I just added 6.
Okay. So, if I got a negative 22, and I think x is negative 22, to check it, you go all the way back to the original. And you say 2 by a thing minus 1/2 by a thing plus 6, and check if that equals negative 36. So negative 22 goes here and here. Negative 22 plus 6 is a negative, I can't think, 16? 2 by negative 22. Okay, if I multiply and I multiply, we get negative 44. Negative 1/2 and negative 16 is plus 8. Negative 44 plus 8 is negative 36. Now, I don't have to do it like that. I could just grab my calculator and one-shot it if I have a right view calculator. We've talked about those before. If you can just parentheses everywhere there is an x and throw a negative 22, you can type it exactly like this. So, because your check could have been calculator one-shot, did you do the check Did you do it correctly? I saw this on your quizzes. Some of you would say, here's a check. Like you would write this line, and then at the bottom you'd say negative 36 equals negative 36, even though you said x was a 5. Like you just BS'd it. You made it look like you did the check. So, one, did you do the check? I don't care whether it was in the calculator or not. Two, did you actually get the negative 36? If you did not get the negative 36, did you say, this is incorrect, the power of Christ compels you, that I had got the wrong answer? Okay. Next up, correct answer. And I'm going to say 2 for just all of that work. Because who knows where in there you could have gone wrong. There was a lot of moving parts. Yes, sir.
Is there any specific way that's correct to show your check on your paper?
If you had just had this and then equals 36 or negative 36, because you typed it exactly like that in the calculator, I'd be okay with that. Questions on? Okay. Then, seven days. That's a lot. 196 hours. Do we have any questions from the homework? Yes, sir. Okay. So we should probably actually bring the paper up. I assumed that we weren't going to have any, but you can go away. Save. You. Drive. Nope. My drive. Your class. Student folder to... There it is. 20 what? 23. Okay, I know you all are pretty young, but do you know who Jim Carrey is? Okay. Do you know that Jim Carrey did a ridiculously messed up psychological thriller movie called The Number 23? There is no humor in this. It is entirely a movie about someone who has previously gone completely psychotic episode, forgotten everything that he did, rediscovering his entire life because, oops, I killed someone. Really good. It's also incredibly inappropriate for school. Don't watch it here. But like, if you're into like conspiracy theories and like, did you know that the 38th syllable of every paragraph written by Ernest Hemingway involves an alien signature? That kind of stuff. Watch that movie because it'll mess with your mind. Okay? All right. These ones, you know what? I don't want that there. There. Okay. Option 1. I got a calculator. I'm just going to add 5/8 to both sides. What's 7 chalupas plus 5 chalupas? 12 chalupas. So what's 7/8 plus 5/8? 12/8. So 6V is 12/8, which I can call 3/2. And then, who's still got to go? And dividing by 6 is the same as multiplying by 1/6, right? Flip the second and multiply. In which case, 3 and 6 become 1 and 2. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. V is 1/4. So there's one option. Option 2 says Heath doesn't like fractions. I really don't. So, look at your denominators. They're both 8s, right? So just multiply the whole honkin' thing by 8, so you don't have to deal with fractions. 8 times 6v is 48v. 8 times negative 5/8 is just negative 5. 8 times 7/8 is 7. Boy, doesn't that look a lot nicer. Okay. Add 5. Show it zeros. 48v is 12. Divide by 48. And then reduce. So it depends which style you like. If you're okay working with fractions, just let the calculator do the heavy lifting for you. I would prefer if you knew how to do fraction stuff, you are in high school. But if you just don't wanna, you don't have to. Multiply the whole thing by 8 and don't work with fractions anymore. If I really don't want to have freshmen in a class anymore, then, well, A, tough. B, maybe next year I say, I'll take another Algebra 2. Nah, teachers don't actually get to decide. We just argue about who gets what classes. I think freshmen are just fine. We bag on you a lot, but freshmen are all right.
We're cool people. It's just the things we do. You wet.
You gotta do a little grown up. That's all. Y'all are all good. What else?
I'm growner than you, actually.
Yeah. 19. Okay. Take your negative 2 and distribute it. Getting x minus 2x's minus 20 is 12. Okay, so step 1, I'm going to distribute. Step 2, just like our daily quiz today, where do you think I got it from? This exact same thing, I'm going to combine like terms. I say 1x minus 2x's is negative 1x. Distribute, then combine like terms. Add 20. If you can, show that that zeroes out. I said change color, you rat son. Negative x is now a 32, almost there. Do I multiply by negative 1 or do I divide by negative 1?
Or just move the negative sign onto the other side.
Okay, that's not math law, but that is multiplying by negative 1 or dividing by negative 1 because they're the same thing, right? If I take this times a negative 1 and take this times a negative 1, negatives cancel, x is negative 32. So yeah, it might look like you just picked up the negative and threw it on that side, but you're doing it mathematically, not just because you feel like it. In this case, yes. You want to be careful about that because we're going to have more than just a number over there eventually. Okay? More.
11.
39.
Oh, 11.
We'll do 11 because it's on this page. 5 times a number decreased by 18 minus 4 times the same number is. Holy smokes, they need commas in there. Okay. Is. What does that mean? Okay. So I know I got it equals negative 36 here. 5 times. Okay. So as soon as I say 5 times, that means the next thing that I talk about is what I'm multiplying 5 by. But they say a number number decreased by 18 minus 4 times the same. Okay, they screwed up hard. There should be a comma here because otherwise it's a run-on sentence. They literally Englished math wrong. They Englished math wrong. Okay? So here's what happens. Because there's no comma to split it up, it's 5 times a number decreased by 8 minus 4 times the same number. 18. Yes. Because it says a number decreased by, that's another set of parentheses. So it's like a parenthesis within a parenthesis because of the way they wrote it. A number decreased by 18 minus 4 times the same number. This is how it's actually supposed to be written, and I know that's not how the solutions looked. They screwed up. Because parentheses within parentheses is not something that we should be encountering this early in algebra half. They screwed up. But if I say 5 times a number decreased by 18 and then I have a comma, the comma takes that breath. It lets me know I stop. 5 times a number decreased by 18 minus 4 times the same number. That's what gives me a set of parentheses. 5 times a number decreased by 18 minus 4 times the same number. Okay? And I know that's what they were driving for, but they actually screwed up in their editing when they made this book and these resources. There should have been a comma there to actually put that parenthesis in place. So they screwed up. Now, who actually got here? Like just assumed that's where the parenthesis was. One potato.
I did today. I didn't put any parentheses on the first page.
Okay. You just one-shotted it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. So if you goofed that up, do not feel bad because I had to double take that. They screwed up. Now that I got it here, are you okay?
Yeah.
I had to stop myself from saying something that would have been construed very poorly.
Can you explain it?
When you're older.
I think so.
So, once I'm here, distribute, combine like terms. I hope. Okay. What was the other one? 30-something? Was it more words?
Yeah, there's more words. Or there's a writing one that's 35. 39.
39. The sum of 3 integers. What's an integer? You can do better than that. Go back to section 1, 1.3, 1.2.
I should just like take that page out of there. I've been looking at that a lot. I grabbed it.
More.
Decimal is not a number that's not a decimal fraction, but it's be positive or negative.
Okay, positive or negative numbers that aren't decimals and fractions, meaning positive and negative whole numbers. -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, ... in both directions. The sum of 3 integers, what is sum? Okay, So I'm going to take something plus something plus something. Those things are all going to be integers. Okay? It says the second integer is one more than the first. Do I know what the first one is? No. So what do I put in math for I don't know? Okay? So if the next one is one more than that, what do I put? I love that you said parentheses. Parentheses x plus 1. And the third integer is 2 more than the first. Parentheses x plus 2. And then we'll combine like terms and turn it into 3x plus 3. Write an equation. Oh, the sum of the integers is 228. So, right? Because I have an x and I have an x and I have an x. I have a plus 1 and a plus 2. Put it all together. Subtract 3, divide by 3. 75. But it's not enough to just say x is 75. It asks what are the numbers. So if x is 75, what's next?
76, 77.
So you have to say that. 76, 75, 76, 77. This whole consecutive integer thing, it's going to pop up more. All right. So, it's been a while. We're going to start with argue. Figure it out. Figure it out. Diagram gives information about the populations of two different towns. After how many years will the populations be equal? So right now, so maybe call this like spearfish on one side, lead deadwood on the other, right? Like they're relatively close to each other. The first town, 3,225. Next one is 3,300. But they're growing at different rates. When will they be the same? Lies. However you figure it out. That is the equation that we will be doing today. Yes, ma'am. Yes, I do.
I did get that. And then I checked it too, and it was right. How do you know it's complete? Because
Okay, now I see some of you are already in Equation Town. That's good. Means we got the skills to go to Equation Town right away. What if I approach this just by common sense? How much bigger is Town B right now?
75 people bigger.
Okay, 3,300 minus 3225. It's 75 people greater population. Okay, so if Town A, how much faster is it growing?
Like 25 people more.
Okay, so if it gains 25 people on Town B every year, and it needs to make up 75 people, 75 divided by 25 should be 3 years. Okay? Should be. Now, we should be okay with writing that as an equation as well, and I saw some of you did this already. You have a starting amount plus a rate. 100 people per year. I have a starting amount plus a number of people per year. I don't know how many years, so I put x as a variable. And it does say, when will the populations be equal? So you set them equal. But this is one that you probably haven't done for a while. What happens when there's a variable on both sides? So far, we've just had the variable has always been on one side, either left or right. Now, I've got a variable on both. Okay, so how do we solve it? I can't combine like terms on the left. I can't combine like terms on the right. I literally can't do anything to either side. So how do I get started? Yeah?
Could you like take the whole term and put it on the other side? Like divide the right term by 2, or divide it by 2x?
I don't want to divide it by 2x, because then I get a 2x under here, and a 2x under here, and a 2x under here. Okay. We got to move something, right? Now, some of you are saying subtract the 2x. Did anyone else think, how about I subtract the 2? Okay. So here's the deal. The one thing I can't is combine like terms, because think of it like, oh no, you're too young for that. Nope. I can't put 2x and 5x together if there's a clear, plexiglass prison wall between them. Right? No. Remove head from rectum. Cease verbalization. Okay. You got to move something. I'm going to show you, speed run. You can start this 4 different ways. I could subtract 5x. Divide both sides by -3. I get x is 4. I did that by moving -5 first, or -5x. Option 2. This one looks different, though. Every time we've always moved the constant over, Well, now if I move that constant over, aren't I just going to have 5x minus 12 equals 2x? It's still not going to accomplish anything. So here's the way that I'd always said it since pre-algebra for 13 years now. You play the who's lonely game. Okay, inevitably you get the kid who's like, me. Okay. The who's lonely game says, on which side of the equation do you see someone all by themselves?
Yes.
Right?
All the way over there.
Okay. He's lonely because he's lazy. You need to bring the date to him or he's going to be in his mom's basement playing Fortnite till he's 40.
At least make a new one. He at least have a YouTube channel. So.
Okay. Look what happens now. I isolated variable on one side, constant on the other. In fact, that's kind of the goal here. It isn't just to get variable on left. And some of you probably had a teacher who said variable's always on the left. Like someone's had that experience somewhere along the way. No. As long as variables are on one side and not variables are on the other, like a middle school dance, boys over here, girls over there. Okay? You want it split. And then I divide by 3, x is 4 again. That's a way to do it. Could I have gotten rid of 2x at the beginning? I heard a couple of you say that. Minus 2x, minus 2x. Can I do that?
No, that's the wrong place for the 2x.
Okay. I want like terms together. Show me that this zeroes out. I have 3x plus 2 is 14. Who's lonely? 14. All by himself because he's lazy and he's probably on Reddit trashing girl gamers. Okay. Guess what, dude? She doesn't want to go to your channel anyway. And you're going to divide by 3 again and still get 4. So no matter what you do, you always end up with the same answer. So this is the way that I've always said it from back in the coaching days. I don't care what you move. Just move something. Okay? I don't care who you hit, just hit someone. Okay, don't just stand there frozen and let them go around you. Just hit someone. Okay? I don't care if you screw up, just screw up going 100 miles an hour. So, out of all 4 of those things up there, Haven, who's looking at you goofy? Which one don't you like? I don't like that one. I want to move that one. Haven says, I don't like 2. So? So that's what we're going to go with. 5x is now 2x plus 12. And then you play the who's lonely game. Who's all by themselves.
5x again. He's always alone.
Show that it zeroes out. I now have a 3 times something. So I'm going to undo that by dividing. Okay. How do I check?
Put it in the calculator of the original equation.
Okay. Even though Tyson is speaking like Tyson, I want you to listen to him. Okay? In the original, that's the important part. You have to go into the original. 5 by a thing plus 2, does that equal 2 by a thing plus 14? You're welcome. What's 5 by 4?
20.
Plus 2.
22.
What's 2 by 4?
18.
Plus 14.
22.
22 equals 22. As long as ugly equals ugly, it doesn't matter if they're pretty numbers or not. So, get them. I don't care what you move. Just move something. Okay, maybe Abby really doesn't like that 4K. Okay, Cannon really doesn't like the negative 10. Like, you move whatever you want to move. I don't care. Because in the second step, you play the Who's Lonely game. And you balance it out.
Steve. We were targeting you earlier, actually.
LMAO.
That's just me. What? It wasn't against you personally. It was more just you would be the one to yell out, "Oh, that's me right there."
And don't worry about part B because that's exactly what we were talking about. There's different ways to do it.
Don't judge. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Watch your signs. Please watch your signs. Jake, who's eyeballing you funny? He doesn't like 4K. Just it sounds too much like 4K, and then he wants to like flip out because he's failing Spanish, or I don't know what his thing is. He just doesn't like 4K. Sorry if that hit too close to home. I don't know if that's actually a thing. Okay. So he's going to move 4K. Show that it zeroes out. I have 3K plus 2. And now it's just like what we were doing before. Who's lonely? So, bring him a date. Never actually thought about that part of it, but okay. Show that that zeroes out. 3K is negative 12. And divide by 3. Okay. Plug it back in. Double check that it works. If you do it right, you should end up with negative 26 is negative 26. Okay. You plug it in both sides. Make sure both sides end up the same number. Okay. I'll double check their process here. So 5 group is okay. I'm going to back up to here and I'm going to ask. Thank you. Not everyone is okay with this, but I got to ask. If Jake says, I don't like 4K, so I'm going to move that. You know what? Not even blue. Oh, blue. Can you tell right now who's going to be lonely already? Okay. So if I know This is going to go away, and I'm going to have a negative 10 over there. Could I, in the same line of the problem, also take away 2? Okay. Because doesn't it still balance? So if some of you are okay with double shotting like that, go for it. You're still going to get the same answer. 3K here, this cancels out, negative 12 there. All you were able to do is skip a line of work. You still wrote it though. So if you're okay with that, go ahead and do it. In fact, I might just accidentally forget and do that without noticing. So if I do and you don't like it, stop me. All right, turn it into words. Graphic designer is going to take an hour and a half to make 1 page on their website. They upgrade their software, now they can do a page in 1.25 hours. What is that in like real people time?
1 hour and 15 minutes.
A quarter of an hour is 15 minutes. Okay. But, it takes 8 hours to learn the software.
That's not worth it.
How many, that's exactly the question. How many web pages would they have to make in order for it to be worth it? Meaning, when are those two going to be equal? An hour and a half for every page versus an hour and a quarter for every page. So it's faster, but it takes 8 hours to learn. Aren't you going to have to make a lot more web pages to finally catch up to this? But once you catch up to it, isn't this going faster? It's kind of like you've all seen, all right, you're kids. You like to compare everything. How many times have you been racing someone and someone gets a head start? Okay? I'll race you down to the end of the football field. This ain't even fair, dude. You go. Okay, now I'll run. Right? You give them a head start. That's what I'm figuring out here. One of them is clearly faster than the other, but it takes a little bit of startup work. So I'm going to say 1.5 times the number of hours. Oh, wait. That's not times the number of hours. That's 1.5 hours to make a page, one web page. And I want to know when that's going to break even with this other design, 1.25, an hour and a quarter for every web page, but it takes 8 hours to learn, so I have to tack 8 hours onto how much time it's going to take me. And then, off to the races. Who's lonely? Right? 1.5 all by itself. So subtract 1.25x. Bring them a date. Show that 0.25x is now 8. What do I do? That's smashed up on it. So if they're multiplying, I'm going to divide. How many quarters go in $8, Ashton?
32. What?
Yeah. 32 what? 32 quarters? No.
32 websites.
32 web pages. Remember how... Yo, I want you to put a big old neon, like, flashing sign next to this. The question The question tells me my variable. It's asking how many web pages. So that means my variable is the number of web pages. Okay, 32 pages. So that means after this dude makes 32 pages, okay, stick a 32 in there. What is 1.5 times 32? $48 hours. This isn't just happening in a day. This is saying, like, I've got a bunch of web pages to make this week. Either I can use this software and it'll take me 48 hours, or I can use this software, but I'm going to have to take a day off to learn it. But I'll go faster after that. So once I make the 32 web pages, it's break even. After that point, I definitely want to be using the faster software because it's going to be faster. You have to be able to turn words into math. If you can't do it, you got a long 3.5 years ahead of you. Okay? We spent a good chunk of time working on translating phrases and expressions. Now it's the same thing, except expression on this side equals expression on that side. The question at the end tells me my variable. The question at the end tells me my variable. He has them.
Is this the notification? Like flip them?
No.
That'd be.
The question at the end tells me my variable. How many months will the copier pay for itself? So that means I'm going to have an M for month on both sides of this equation. What is the cost per month of running under the old copier versus the new copier? What did the bill used to be? 112 per month. 112 per month. What is the cost with the new copier? But it didn't just magically reduce. What did I have to do to get the cheaper rate? No, these are my costs. I had to add a $650 copier. Make sense? 112 a month versus 88 a month, but you got to pay for the better tools. Okay? I know a good chunk of you like working with your hands. How much time does it save you if you shell out the money and get the better tools? Okay? Y'all, when I switched from just a dinky little like 8-volt Craftsman over to an actual DeWalt that lasted me 10 years and beat the living snot out of it, worth every penny. Okay? You have to pay to get the cheaper rate. Okay, how many of you have been to Disneyland, Disney World, Universal Studios, Six Flags? Okay? You go somewhere like that, if you're only there for a certain amount of time, isn't it worth it to pay extra to get that fast pass or whatever it is? So you can see all the 300 schmucks in this line, and you can hop in this line where there's only 20 people, right? You're going to get more bang for your buck because you paid for it. That's what's happening here. Now that I'm here, who's lonely? So subtract 88 from both sides, or 88M, I should say. Always make sure that you carry your label with it. And get, what's that, 24, right? Right? 24M is 650. Divide both sides by 24. So what's that, 480? I don't know, I'm tired. 27 what? Ew.
Yeah, it's 325.
Yeah, I don't like that. How about we reduce? If I don't know off the top of my head what goes into both of these, do you at least recognize they're both even? Okay. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. Can I go further? What do 325 and 12 have in common? Do you remember your divisibility tricks? How do I know if a number is divisible by 3?
If three, if the multiple of three is six, like 6, 9, 12, like those numbers.
Okay. You're saying it weird, but I know where you're headed with it. Say I had the number 375, because 3 plus 7 plus 5 is 15. And 15 is divisible by 3. 375 is divisible by 3. What about 325? 10 isn't divisible by 3. So neither is 325. So they're not divisible by 2. They're not divisible by 3. They're not divisible by 5. I think that's just it. Okay. So technically your answer okay. Now here's where we're going to talk about a reasonable answer. 325 over 12 is the correct answer. But if I walk into a typical Verizon store and I say, I need to pay for 325 over 12 months of service, they're going to go cross-eyed. Versus, Tommy, say that again. 27.083 months. Look at the difference in how I wrote them, though. Do you remember what that means? This means it equals. It is. This means approximately. Almost. Close to. If you ever cut off part of your answer, if you ever round something, you have to write approximately because it's not the real answer anymore. Okay? If I say 325 over 12 months, I'm right. If I say about 27 months, I'm close enough.
About right.
Okay? I hope someone in here wrote down something to that effect. Now, I'm betting we're okay if it's nice and small with only one or two things on both sides. Like, okay, we're not there yet. Let's do 21. Nice and easy. If you feel like this isn't too bad, I would challenge you to do the two things at once style. If it's your jam. Okay. Yep. It looks good, but how do you know if you're right? Plug it in. Double check it.
That's how I see one right.
But I changed it to 10 minus -2.
Can we do 17?
Jesse, who's looking at you funny? Who do you want to get out of here? Okay. Jesse says, this guy gave me the side eye. Scrap. Okay. If I do that, do y'all see who's going to be lonely now?
Yeah, it's gonna be like 12.
So I can simultaneously, if I want, I don't have to, I can do this in two stages, like this. Okay? Because I will still have 24 on one side, 8y on the other. This is where zeroing them out, actually showing that, can really help us. Then, divide by 8. It turns this multi-step problem into only two. And then go back and double check. If I shove a 3 in here, 2 by 3 is 6. 12 plus 6 is 18. Does that equal, shove a 3 in there, 30 minus 12? Yeah, it's 18. Cool, I'm right. So I'm betting we're okay when it's just integers like that. But what if it's not? Dun 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 dun. Oh, you know they're coming. Both of them. You have to be able to work with fractions. Yes, ma'am. Alpha y equals will bring up a fraction menu. So that says numerator over denominator, normal fractions. So just hit enter, box over box.
Oh my god, what is this?
What did we say all the way at the beginning of the class when Heath had his question? Heath didn't like fractions, so what did we do? We got rid of them. Well, get rid of them if you don't like them.
Yeah, at least these fives aren't too bad.
If you don't want to deal with fractions, then don't. Change the equation so you don't have to. Math is communist. What you do for one, you do for all. Come on now, y'all been to an elementary classroom, y'all been to a daycare, something. If you bring a treat for one person, don't you got to bring one for everyone? Okay. What's up?
So it's like someone multiply
Yeah.
the whole thing by 6.
Yeah.
That would be like
Every single one of them. So
12.
what's half of 6? Keep going.
48.
Okay, might have to do this in stage. What's 6 divided by 3?
2.
Times 2.
4.
Isn't it pretty now? Okay. If you don't like fractions, then just don't. Don't do fractions.
Oh, I was like, dang.
16 and 17. There, let me look real quick what we got here. I gotta think. Okay, so we're not gonna get to identities. We're gonna be close. Okay. Actually, I don't like any of that. Okay. Oh, we're still going. Okay. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. 16 and 17. Don't you me.
I tried to do 16.
When you multiply everything by 5, you multiply these two.
No, the 5 will cancel. If you multiply the top and bottom both by 5, then you didn't multiply by 5, you multiplied by 1. Because 5 over 5 is 1, same thing. Okay. If I see a 3 and a 2 as a denominator, then I'm going to need to multiply by a 3 and a 2. So, do the whole honking thing by 6. Now maybe this is mental math, maybe it's not, but 2/3 of 6. Well, I got 6 fingers. There. Now they're in thirds. 1, 2, thirds. So 4 things, right? Otherwise, take 6 divided by 3 times 2. So we'll have 4n. Do it again. 6 by 8. Half of 6. 6 by 2. What do you think, Natalie? Who don't you like? Don't like 12. Get out of here, 12. Screw you, 12. Show it zeros out. Get 4n's plus 36 is 3n. Who's lonely?
3n.
Okay. So subtract 4n. Bring him a date. He's lonely because he's lazy. Zero it out. 36 is now a negative n. So I can either multiply or divide by a negative 1 to get n is negative 36. Okay, on the next one, I don't have to worry about common denominators because they both share a 5. Okay, this was Tommy's question, said, do I take 5 times 2 and with the 5? Because the 5 and the 5 are going to just cancel, so it stays 2y. All right, so we got a 2y. Oh, no, wrong color. A negative 40, a 45, and a negative 3y. Okay. Killian, who don't you like up there? Make him go away. Well, I know there'll be a 1y eventually, or something like a 1, but...
Negative 3y.
Okay, I don't like that one. Staring at me funny. Okay, so... You're just casually minding your own business in Walmart. You look up and someone's like eyeballing you. Okay. Show that this is 5y minus 40. This part hasn't changed. And you ask, who's lonely? Right? 45 is lonely. Bring him a date. Or he's going to get too close to the dark web and Bitcoin. Okay. Finish it off. Divide by 5. Okay. I really want to go on to the next section. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna end it there. And I'm gonna monkey with your assignment so that it reflects only going through here. Okay? Now keep in mind, you don't have this class again until Tuesday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. For 46 and a half hours, you have the opportunity to ask questions. Please, don't make the mistake that we did before that first midterm.